Welcome to episode 10 of the Prairie League podcast. We've hit 10 double digits.
That's a big milestone for us, I think.
That's 5 months? Yeah, that's 5 months.
Holy. 5-month celebration. It's our 5-month anniversary.
It doesn't seem long. It seems long, actually.
It does seem long, but not at the same time. Like, it feels like it's gone very quickly. Once the league started and we did a couple episodes, it just flew.
Yep, now we're already done provincials and we're on to nationals and international tournaments, and the summer's almost gone.
Yeah, don't talk like that.
I got burned pretty well. I got my first summer experience last weekend, so.
Your first? What have you been doing?
Sunscreen. Except last weekend I didn't sunscreen, and I definitely learned my lesson.
You'd think you would have learned that lesson, younger, at a younger age.
Well, no, because I would never wear sunscreen. And then when you have a 4-year-old in the house, you always have sunscreen around, and you put it on because you have it. And then when she wasn't around, we gave it away and realized we didn't have sunscreen.
Yeah.
And then I'm a roasty tomato, so.
Well, at least you have to get at least one.
Yeah.
Each summer. I definitely have to get one. That's just the way it goes.
It just evens all out. That's all.
Yeah, if I'm lucky, it does.
So it was actually a big couple 2 weeks since the last time we talked.
Mm-hmm.
Provincials happened on both Alberta and Saskatchewan. I believe they're still going on a little bit in Saskatchewan, but most of the results we do got.
Perfect.
So let's go through them a little quick. We were talking a little bit about this, and let's start in U12A, which I think is the craziest of them all.
Yeah.
So if what I'm reading is correct, the Olds Pistols, who are the B Division champions, finished third ahead of the St. Albert Angels, who are the A Division champions.
I mean, we were talking about this U12 before as being very competitive, remember?
Yep.
So, I mean, are we that surprised?
I think
on
paper
I still am.
It looks surprising.
If I'm going to be completely honest, I am still surprised because that's a pretty big swing. But at the same time, that just shows that the teams are that close, which is awesome.
And that's what you want. Like, you don't want that much of a difference between A and B to see. And we're really hoping that this is I'm reading this correctly, and that's what I'm going by, what was posted online. But you have two really good teams. That probably would have been a great game.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Then on the flip side of that one, you have the Calgary Kaizen winning and the Red Deer Rage coming in second. Now, Red Deer finished 9-6. They weren't. I'm not going to throw them and say they weren't in the conversation, but when you look at that division, the playoffs, you had your teams like your St. Albert and your Calgary, who were one-loss teams all year, and now Red Deer comes and wins silver and books herself a trip to like Westerns they're going to.
And it's super corny, but everybody says you do learn more from a loss than you do from a win. So it's all about who peaks at the right time. That doesn't necessarily mean that your record's going to reflect it through the season.
Well, and we also talked about you got to show up on a weekend, especially in a tournament-style format like it is for every tournament, actually. Every weekend from here on out is a tournament in sense you got to, if you have a bad weekend, you're done. So,
yeah, or if you have a weekend where maybe your starting pitcher is hurt or not available or whatever, like those can be, have big impacts on teams' weekends as well.
Exactly. So,
because not everybody can go to every single ball weekend, right? Like it is summertime, it is, families do other things, so that can have a pretty big impact on how they show up.
And then U12B, we had Irma Tigers coming out champions there, and they defeated Calgary Adrenaline, who were not the champions, but they were 9-1 throughout the regular season, so more parity.
And small town championship.
I think we're biased towards our small towns.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that
sorry, Calgary, but it's kind of nice to see that Irma took you down. Like I apologize if that upsets you, but I am biased a little bit.
Then U14, Calgary Kaizen took the U14 as well. Or for U14A, sorry. River City Hornets were second. Calgary General 04 were third. And then Sherwood Park Storm came in fourth. So that's another sweep of GPLS teams there.
Did you even catch how you said adrenaline there?
I corrected myself and then recorrected myself.
I think that's just the way you say adrenaline. Adrenaline.
I don't know why. It's my near America accent.
I guess so.
I don't know. Anyway, U14B, are the B division champion Elnor Eagles continued on. They're provincial champions again. So
Congratulations.
Great season for them.
Yeah.
A lot of love for the people. The comments from us about giving us them love, but it's like when they had a season like that, small town team. We are so biased.
I know.
I'm okay with that. St. Albert Angels came in second. River City Hornets were third. Olds Pistols were fourth. There's some parity too.
Yeah.
I think that was the division. The U14 was the division where there was just anybody could beat everybody. Everything was so close.
Yeah, you're right. I think I said that we were talking about the U12 before, but now that you mentioned that, I do think it was the U14s because there were just so many wins and losses kind of across the board with all the different teams, right?
Yeah. So there was. Yeah. So let's continue on. U16A, River City Hornets won that. Nose Creek Chaos were second. Calgary Kaizen were third, and Red Deer Rage were fourth. And the U16B was the Calhoun Errands first. Sedgwick Oilers were second. Medicine Hat Thunder, who actually were their B runner-up, they finished in third. And the Calhoun Errands, their second team, finished in fourth there. What else do we got? Oh, U19B, Red Deer Rage, who were the B champions, so they continued on. They're still undefeated.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Congratulations. That is crazy.
And Central Alberta Impact finished second. Irma Tigers third. Lacombe Matrix were fourth. And I did forget the U19A girls. Lloydminster Liners were first. The Calgary Adrenaline were second. See, I said it right there.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. And River City Hornets were third, and Edmonton Warriors were fourth. And that rounds out. All four of those teams, I believe, are going to nationals.
Sorry, before we continue, congratulations to all of the teams. Whether you won it or you got a medal or you didn't, congratulations on their seasons and doing so well and coming out most weekends and competing hard. And it's a short season, but it's exciting. So congratulations to everybody that was taking part.
We're still not done though.
No, I know.
It doesn't feel like it. It feels like we're done one part, but now it's just this next part's going to take the next month and a half.
Well, and that's what I mean. I know it's not done. I know that there's still more to come, but it is done for some, right? There are some teams that provincials is the end of the line, and that's the big tournament or whatever. And so, you got to congratulate everybody, not just the ones that move on to Westerns or nationals or, so on and so forth.
And if you do look at it as well, if you look at any from U12, 14, 16, 19, pretty well every single team who played in the GPLS was the champion of that this year.
Which is awesome.
So it should pretty well show you how competitive that league is becoming when it's pretty much a clean sweep across the board for every single A and B division. I think a few teams, the U16 might be the only one where there are more guests, a few of the guest teams got in. But still, it's kind of showing the level of competition that's in this league that you're seeing clean sweeps. And I know sometimes that's all there is in those teams, but there's a lot of teams out there. And we haven't even got into C and D divisions, but we're going to skip those for now. But we will. I'm going to notice this about C and D. Even if you go into that one, that's when we talked about that small town. That's when you starting to see things like Foothills and Provost and Castor, Stettler. Now you start getting into the next level of small community, but there's still competitive softball in those communities as well.
Yeah, which you don't expect a whole lot of small towns to be able to compete with the Edmontons, the Calgarys, the St. Alberts, that kind of stuff. There's just, you don't have the kids to pull from. It's just not really an option. But so that's why it's so crazy when those small towns do produce teams that beat them. But yeah, the C and D, that is where I would expect small town teams to kind of flourish in there.
So I want to also point out Saskatchewan had their provincials as well. So I'm just going to go quickly through theirs as well. Prince Albert Aces finished third in the U19A girls. So I believe that means they're going to nationals if I was reading correctly. What else we got? The Prince Albert Aces finished first in the U16 girls. So they're going to nationals as well. The Unity Panthers finished first in the U16B division. Prince Albert also finished first in the U14A division. And Unity finished second in the U14B division. So there's our Saskatchewan. I'm probably missing somebody. If I am, I apologize. But so we got some national teams from Saskatchewan, national teams from Alberta. That's going to be a fun, long week.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how they do, on a national stage, because they've been competing with each other all season, and it seems like we've got some pretty good teams going. So I'm excited for Alberta and Saskatchewan to show up and see how we compete.
So that right there is kind of your provincials. That's where where we are. We'll get more into nationals probably next week as well. But we're going to continue on with the player interviews that we've had. We didn't have anybody message us, at least I didn't, about doing this. So if I have to start finding people, I will.
Yeah, well, we're going to probably have to. And we're going to have to start hunting people down, knocking down doors, hitting the pavement. Because we're going to run out pretty quickly here. And we want to get to know more of the girls. We want to get to know the league and who makes it up. And we can't without your help. So we need some people to step up here and be a little selfish and get people to get to know you.
So let's get to know Aiden Brown from the River City Hornets, Provincial Champion.
Aiden Brown, and I play for River City Hornets.
And what position do you play?
I'm a pitcher.
And how old are you?
I'm 15.
So how long have you been playing softball for, and why did you start playing in the first place?
I've been playing for 10 years, and I started playing just because my dad used to play when he was like men's basically, and like slow pitch and all that stuff, and he had an interest in the sport, so then he just put me in it when I was young, and then I just started to love the sport too. So yeah.
What are some of the things that you love about softball? Why do you continue to play?
Well, I love like the competition, and I love pushing myself to be better at my sport, and I'm just a competitive person in general. I just like competing.
Me too. I'm incredibly competitive.
Do you play other sports as well?
No, I don't.
No,
just
just
softball.
So do you train softball all year round then?
All year round I train.
And where do you train it?
We just train indoor gyms and stuff with my team, and that's really it. And then once season starts, we start going outside and training.
Do you want to go to college, or what are your biggest dreams with softball?
I do want to go to college. That's like my biggest goal, is going to college. Like, it's kind of hard to get like a Div 1, but that's a goal that I'm trying to push to. I do.
So the softball is being reinstated into the Olympics, which is super exciting. Is that something that you think about? You know?
That is something that I think about. Like, that's like kind of far away from me, but that's another goal. I would like to do that too, and get the most out of it that I can. Experience.
So when I was playing a long time ago, when they had taken softball out, the teams that I was playing against, there was like 3 teams at provincials, and now I come to this tournament and there are just girls everywhere. There's teams everywhere. Softball's back in the Olympics. What does that mean to you that like softball is becoming a big thing, a big sport again for girls?
It's a tough question. I know. Take your time.
That's a tough one.
Because like when you talk about like thinking about going to college and the fact that it's going to be back in the Olympics, do you think that gives the girls here something to strive for and makes the sport better?
I definitely think that girls have more goals and stuff, and people are starting to get more into it, because like it's fun too. I don't know. I really don't. It's good. Yeah.
Besides like the physical part of softball, like the skill that it takes, all that kind of stuff, what else do you take away from softball in like your everyday life? What's something that kind of you take through every day?
I usually, after I like do really good, I have more confidence in myself, and it pushes me in school to do better too, because when I want to go to college, I have to like push myself in school also to get where I want to be. So it kind of like pushes me mentally with other stuff too.
And it's a sport that's kind of based around failure, right? Yeah. Like if you're batting around 500, that means that you're having an incredible season. Yeah. So do you think that has an impact on who you are as well? The fact that you have to push through failure literally every game, every practice?
Yeah, I think so, because you fail like all the time in everyday life. So I feel like it's
a good lesson to learn.
Yeah, for sure. So what else do you like to do besides softball?
Well, I don't know. I like to hang out with my friends, but I don't really do much in softball school and hang out with my friends. So I like to like go to the lake. Yeah. That stuff.
if there were some younger girls listening to this podcast that we're going to put your interview in, what would be some advice you would give them about joining softball or about softball in general?
Well, softball, depending on like what kind of team you play for and like whatever, it's a dedication thing, and like you're not gonna always have time to like go hang out and do stuff with your friends, but like if you're really like dedicated to sport and you love it and stuff, it's worth it in the end because you have so much time to hang out with your friends in your life. And, like, this is kind of, like, a one-time
thing. So that was provincial champion Aiden Brown of the River City Hornets. Like we said, we're running out of players, so hopefully some people are going to step up shortly because it's fun talking. Well, they haven't talked to me, so...
Yeah, it was fun talking for me, but it'd be nice even just to have them, talk to both of us. Get some different perspective, different questions. I feel like, for the most part, the interviews I conduct are pretty similar. I wanted to get to know the girls kind of on the same level, and it'd be good to have, you to bounce some questions off, get a little bit different perspective in there, switch it up a bit.
I could just grill them too.
No, you can't do that.
Come on.
Then nobody will come.
We still need some more, so reach out to either myself or Kiera, and somebody will. We have a lot of airtime to fill. We don't want to keep talking about ourselves.
No, we don't.
So let's move on and talk about more softball. So right now, a lot of our teams from the GPLS are over in BC playing in the Canda Cup, the International Softball Championship. So teams from Calgary, Lloydminster, I've looked at Prince Albert. A lot of teams playing an international event where they do play international teams. We're talking about teams from Japan, teams from Taiwan, and I've read a few people who have played these teams from Japan, and it's an eye-opening experience, to say the least. And I know you said you've played in the Canda Cup, but you've also played in a lot of tournaments down in the United States, and it probably is a big eye-opener to go from playing teams here in Canada to playing a team from another country.
And every country seems to be different. I mean, doesn't seem to be. They are, obviously. And so you see so many different styles of play, and even the way they interact with their coaches and their teammates. Like, you do learn a lot from seeing other teams. Like, one thing that I noticed, or that I always thought, was that when we played the American teams, they just pounded the ball. They hit the ball so hard. They had this kind of swagger about them when they stepped up to the plate that Canadians don't seem to carry with them as obviously, I guess. But it was cool to see. It was cool to see the different personalities and different styles of athletes that the sport kind of brings out in different countries. So it was really interesting. It was a very, very tough tournament. And I'm pretty sure it always is a very tough tournament. There are some really good teams and really good ball players that have gone through there. So for all the girls out there, enjoy. It's such a cool and unique experience. Really take it in when you get to go do that, because it's a lot of fun, and it makes you a better ball player every time you get that chance.
Well, it just also shows you where softball can take you. And another thing we've talked about here is where softball can take you in other parts, and playing other places in Canada, playing international teams, going international, what some girls are going to be doing in Japan in the next couple of weeks. There's doors and there's opportunities through this game, not just through school, through other opportunities to travel and experience and learn from other people, because that's what it is. When you play these international teams, it is such a learning experience, and they're learning from you too. So
absolutely,
it's not just a one-way street where you're going to learn, you're going to take something from them, and that's going to change your game, because now your mindset's different, and the culture that goes into how they play is going to be different, and you're going to adapt some of that into your own style. For
sure, and that's what makes it so cool. It's Canadian teams, you can see the difference between, say, BC and Alberta and Quebec. Everybody kind of has their own styles coming out of their provinces, just kind of in general. Obviously there's variation within there, but you can usually kind of tell. So it's nice to go to these tournaments and see something different, really take in how diverse the sport can actually be. It's not just, BC and Ontario that you see all the time at nationals. These are teams that have come across the world and brought with them completely different perspectives into the sport that you love and play. So it's a pretty cool opportunity.
And it's great to see teams from Calgary, or especially in the U18 division, that were playing exceptionally well this weekend and who are actually leading their division. Against teams who are from New Zealand and United States and from other countries, like it makes an entirely difference when, like, especially for that whole we've talked about before about how BC and Ontario to get more time to practice, and then you have this team from Calgary who's able to actually match and do better than everybody else. So it's showing that the Alberta Saskatchewan softball is actually growing and getting to the point where now where it's on an international and national level, you're starting to see winners and champions.
Yeah, and I also think that I completely lost my train of thought there. I had a really good thought as well, and it's just completely gone.
Come on now.
Oh, man. That's devastating. It's going to come to me right at the end of the show or something, too, and I'll be like, wait. I remember.
Well, I'll let you think about it. In the meantime, let's go to another one of our player features and learn more this time about Sydney Monahan from the Red Deer Rage U14A.
Sydney Monahan, Red Deer Rage U14A.
And what position do you play?
Catcher and left field.
Catcher, nice, good position as well. Okay, so how long have you been playing softball for, and why did you start in the first place?
I've been playing for 7 years, and I started playing because I used to play baseball, and I thought it would be like the same kind of to continue on.
So did you stop playing baseball and get into softball just because there's more opportunity, or how come you did the switch?
There was only a baseball league where I grew up in Bermuda, and then I came to Red Deer and I realized softball was more fit for growing up here.
And when you started playing baseball to begin with, why did you start playing the sport?
My brother played a lot, and we ended up being on the same teams a lot, so he kind of encouraged me to start playing.
What do you love about softball, baseball? What's something about the sport that you really enjoy?
Kind of how you can just like forget about a lot of things to just play and go to practice and go to games.
Softball is kind of one of those tough sports because it's a team sport, but it's very individual. You know, like you're kind of out there on your own when you make mistakes. Well, how do you think that the lessons you learn on the diamond like carry over into your everyday life?
You can just kind of pick out where you made a mistake, so then you know how you make mistakes, and then you can use that in everyday life.
What about being a part of a team? What do you think is good about that?
You can kind of bond with a lot of your teammates, and you can use like your people skills that you use with them to other people.
What about in softball and volleyball and a lot of team sports, when you make a mistake, the team kind of comes together, you know, they're giving you a pat on the butt or whatever, whatever the case is. How do you think that translates into life?
You just realize that people care, and they let you make mistakes, but they're always there to pick you up when you make mistakes.
What about, so people that don't play, it's hard for them to understand how tough it can be to play softball because it's a sport that's based around failure, if that makes sense. How do you think that helps you as well, that you play a sport that you fail more often than not?
When you fail, then you can learn from your mistakes, whereas if it was you always do great and you don't make mistakes, then you could never learn how to be better.
Do you play other sports as well?
I play volleyball and badminton as well as softball. And
if there were, say, some little girls listening to this podcast and they were wanting to play softball or they wanted to play badminton or whatever they're getting into, what kind of advice do you think you could give them to getting into sport? What about, I can help you a little bit. I know for me, playing sports and playing team sports was really good on my self-esteem and really good on my confidence. It made me a lot more of a confident female. Do you think that did something for you as well?
Yeah, when you realize that you can do other things, like play sports, then it like boosts your self-confidence.
And what about softball being in the Olympics now? Is that something you think about, or going to college and playing?
Yeah, you can always think that if you want to play softball for a living, there's a chance. You can just keep going.
So that was Sydney Monahan with the Red Deer Rage, and somebody remembered their point.
I did, thankfully. That was super strange. Anyways, back to my train of thought. I felt like when we went to the Canada Cup and when other Alberta teams and stuff were going to the Canada Cup, it was always go there and do your best. Don't expect to come out a champion. Don't expect to, go over there and beat all of these teams. Just go there, do your best, compete, learn something. And I think that I hope that that mindset has changed a little bit. And because some of the teams are doing well, that will continue to change. You should go into those and embrace the fact that these teams are different and their styles are different, but you shouldn't be afraid of them. You shouldn't be intimidated by them. Our softball has gotten so much stronger over the last couple of years, and we should, feel confident in our ability to play. Like, we're so confident in our hockey and curling and whatever, all of our winter sports, and I understand that. But at the same time, if we want our softball to grow, we have to have a little bit of that, arrogant side. Like, you don't have to show it. I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not promoting that. But you have to have, that mentality somewhere if you want to compete with those teams, because that's what they have. They have that little bit of swagger that gives them that edge, especially at that age. So I hope that because, they go there and they compete and they do well against these teams, that, you bring that back to your league. You bring that confidence. You bring, what you take from them back to your teams, your leagues, and into nationals, and then hopefully softball just kind of continues on an upward spiral that way.
It was kind of one of the things too when I was a reporter that and people would go to certain teams in different sports. They'd go to tournaments and they'd be like, "We just want to do better than our place." And sometimes I was like, I don't necessarily agree with that, especially and they were lower ranked teams and you're just trying to do better than one spot. And I was like, oh, that's almost, why are you going then? If you're not going to win and you're just trying to be one more higher than what your rank is, then it kind of defeats the purpose of even playing.
Yeah, and I feel like that happens a lot. I feel like we're, we don't want to teeter on the edge of being arrogant or whatever because we are Canadians and we're polite and all of that. But in sport, that's a huge part. Going in feeling confident and never being afraid. And I think that if you don't have that confidence, then you do have a fear of losing or not performing well, because then you're going to think, if we play really well, we might do better than our place. But if we play bad, they're going to stomp all over us. And that's just the worst mentality. I feel like you should go in there thinking you can compete with anybody all the time.
And I've talked to some GPLS coaches, and a lot of them are thinking now that the way things have been going, they're not thinking that way anymore. They're thinking that we're going there to try and, earn top 10, earn top 5 in nationals, even possibly win it. And they understand. It's okay to understand that you're going up against, we've talked about the BCs, the Ontarios and stuff. But they're going in there thinking, no, we actually have a shot at this now because of a lot of the steps that's been taken to build up the grassroots, to build up leagues like GPLS, to make things more competitive across the board, to try and narrow that gap down. So no longer it's, well, we're going there and we're just happy to go for the experience. No, we're going there to win.
Yeah, which I, of course, as you know, love, because I love to win. So
the question then is, are you going to win in your softball tournament, 2-pitch, whatever you're playing in the next week?
Did you just call it 2-pitch?
Whatever, I don't know what it is. Is it 2-pitch?
The border battle, my slow pitch border battle.
There you go. Sorry.
I mean, I'm going in with the mentality that, yeah, we are. They won it last year, and I don't see why not. I mean, Americans play a different style. There's some big girls on the team that hit the ball hard, but I don't care. I'm excited to go in there. I want to take that championship again, back to back.
Just remember, the hopes and dreams of all Canadians are on your shoulders.
Yeah. All 7 that will be watching?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. That's a lot of pressure even just for
if I come up, it's 8.
Right, which is huge. That'd be huge.
Yeah. Anyway, let's end that on episode 10 on that note. Good luck to you. I will say good luck to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And like we've mentioned, this is the 3rd time. Come talk to us so we can talk to you, because we really want to start talking to more players on here. Good luck to everybody who's playing Canada Cup, and over the next month getting ready for nationals. It's going to be a busy month and probably a quick one if anything else. So good luck to everybody. Take care.